No worries. All right. Hi guys. So my name's Christian. You guys can just call me Chris. I have some coding experience, mainly in Python and Java, but Solidity is something I'm also self-learning myself, and the basics is something I'll be going through with you guys today. So if you guys have any questions, please do just post it into the class chat at any time. If I do miss your question, I will definitely get back to it right before class ends. I will be looking through the chat and making sure I get through every single question. I posted for those that are on laptop or PC. I send a link of which website we'll be using today. It's called Remix. Uh, if and I can see from the chat that not many of you guys have a lot of prior coding experience, but that's okay. Right now, we're just going to do the basics. We're going to actually deploy our first ever contract. So for those who have done coding before, it might be a little bit tiring for you because we're going to deploy a hello world contract, which if you have done coding before will be the most annoying thing to do. All right, so for those that are on the remix right now, all you have to do is create a new workspace, whatever you want to name it. I'm going to just call it Solidity 101. And what you want to do is, if you see this little contract, create new file here. You just create a new file. You can name it hello world. And from here, we'll start typing out our contract. Is there anyone that has any questions before we start the class? Or am I good to go? I'm guessing no one has any questions. All right. So usually in most contracts that you see, you'll see something like this, where people put this line of code on top of every contract. So what this code usually just does is, if you don't have this code in your contract, anytime you interact with it, there will be a warning sign whenever you interact with it because there's no license. So this would be one of the very important things to put inside your contracts to make sure that it doesn't give a warning sign, it doesn't create any red flags before anyone touches it. It doesn't give a warning sign, it doesn't create any red flags before anyone. Give me a second. Alright. Okay. Right. So remember that whenever you start a contract, to put the license that you have, because that way it will make sure that no matter what happens, you do have a proper license. You do show that your contract is licensed to be on the smart chain. I am sharing. Yeah. Can you see my screen, or is? Yeah. Let me change that.
Yeah, if we can go live in 720 or 1080, that would be great. I'm having
720 would
a
be
problem as
okay.
well.
Wrong screen. Sorry. 720. Okay. Can you guys see my screen now? All right. All right. Sorry about that. Okay. So this is what I'm talking about. This line here. This is basically the license for it. And once we have our license down, all we have to do is type out pragma. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen this a millions of times. Solidity. Now, this is where the current latest version is 0.8.13. But a very, very crucial thing that you have to put here is this little sign right here. What this really indicates to the contract is that anytime a new update or any new software for Solidity comes out, be it 8.14 or if it ever goes to 9, this little icon here just makes sure that any contract or whatever contract that this is when it goes up is for this software version and above. So this really just proves how important and crucial this little thing is. If you forget this thing and Solidity contract updates itself and is now on the new 0.9 or 0.8.14, your contract will not be able to be used on the public record anymore. Can you post the first line? Yeah, sure. I can post. Actually, I'll post the entire thing to the chat afterwards. But I will be having you guys try to code it yourself if possible, just to get the typing out. Oh, thanks, John. All right. So once you have this, you do not use a colon here. You have to use a semicolon. And now we'll start writing our first ever Hello World contract. No worries, no worries. So now we'll just start writing the contract, which is a very simple 2-3-liner contract, which is contract. So this just tells us what our contract is going to do. And the next line will be our contract name. So for this case, it'll be hello world. Then you create brackets. So this here it can be any name, whatever you guys want it to be. It can be hello world, it can be your name, it can be whatever it is, because it's the name of your contract. And inside these brackets here is where we'll be writing our code. So just have to hit enter. And what it does really nicely is that it actually creates our space for us. It helps to move the bracket to the end of the contract. So what you can do now is just create your string that you're going to spell, sorry. String public. Make sure you guys use the right kind of brackets and the right kind of semicolon or colon. Wait, Garrett, that's another thing. That's a good thing that this happened. So in usually these kind of contract names, if you want to create a name with spaces, you actually have to put a underscore in front of it. You can't have a space because it will affect how it names the contract. So if you want to put a name, you actually have to put a little underscore right here. Alright. Are they trying to get some more extra points, huh? Alright. Alright, so now once we have this, public just basically means it's going to the public network. We'll name our string that we want to call it. We'll just call it greet, and we'll give it an equal sign. This just means that this, whatever we write after this, the string that we'll write is the string called greet. So in this case, we'll just put hello world. And for people that are worried what type of like bracket to use, if you use single brackets, double brackets, or triple brackets, it really doesn't matter. It's just better in a sense to use double brackets. It's just a thing. And to make sure that it understands that it's the end of this line, you have to put a semicolon again. So is everyone? Oh, the SPDX. So the SPDX is not the title of it, but it's the license instead. You can check your version basically by typing your version. So you get to choose which version you want. From I think the smallest version you can use right now is 0.4 to 0.8.13. So you get to just type whatever version you feel like using. But just as long as you have this little caret thing at the top, you can use any version that is above the stated version here. All right, so once you're done with this, that's basically your hello world string. So just to test that it works, all you have to do is you see this icon here at the side with this refresh looking button. You go here and you just press compile. And once it's compiled, you basically deployed your first ever contract. And to test it, you go here to the bottom looking Ethereum thing. You press deploy and it'll show you it's right here. So just make sure that everyone's code is working and it's actually showing here. Does anyone have any issues deploying the contract? Okay. So vintage. What you're doing wrong is the mistake you did is you used a colon here instead of a semicolon. You need to change it to a semicolon. Like the one that has a little comma at the end. Yeah. And for your public string greet, you used a dash, which is not right. It has to be an equal sign. So it has to equal just makes it make sure that it has a value, that your contract has a value. So I see a lot of people doing this instead of using an equal sign. This won't create a value for your public string called greet. Instead, you guys want to make sure that you're using an equal sign so that you create a value for this string. Yep. For someone who just asked, okay, I'm on the site. How do I start a new contract? Just to start a new contract, you can create a new workspace. But an easy way to start is you can just press this new thing here called create a file, and it'll create a file for you. You just name it whatever you want, and you can start writing your contract from there. All right. So yeah, go ahead. Yeah, loopy619. If you want to screenshot yours, I can help you check what's wrong. Uh, yeah, loop it. You spelled pragma wrong. That's why it's not registering which kind of code to use. Yeah, you wanna try that again, but it's a A instead of an O here. Give me your image is loading for me. All right. All right. So for BD, just you see this little icon here that will help you create a new file. Just click it once, and you'll create a new file. You can name it whatever you want, and you can start typing out your contract. All right. For everyone who's already finished that part, all you can do is go back to this part here where you press deploy, click the little icon here, and just press greet. And if this pops up, because pressing greet just basically is like interacting with the smart contract, and it should come up with whatever you typed into your string. So for the ones that have finished, I want you to try something and write this contract again, but instead try putting your Discord username in the string and screenshot it and post it into the assignment submissions. And if you can do it right, we'll give you guys your XP. Sorry, Vintage, what do you mean by delete this one? Does anyone have any questions for the Hello World contract? Is that the default size for the debug window? Yeah, you can actually just drag it if you want to increase the size here. You just have to hover over and just increase the size based off what you want. Yeah, thanks for helping with that. My name is Chad. Yeah, so yeah, for those who have already deployed it, try re-putting your Discord username in the string, redeploy the contract and see if it works. And if it does, post it into assignment submissions, please.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, something like that, but 0.69 isn't out yet.
Uh,
All right, so for Peter, what you're doing is you're just changing workspaces. What you want to do is underneath that drop down, there should be these four icons here. You just want to click on this one here. This one that creates a new file for you. You got it, Peter? Is everything okay? Is everyone seeing my screen okay, or is there some error? Yep, sure thing. So what you want to do is first compile your contract in this is this far left hand here, right under where you wrote your contract. The next tab down, just compile your contract, and once it's compiled, you go to the next one below that and press deploy. But one thing you guys should know, when you deploy, it'll come up with the second one here. So if you keep deploying, you have to make sure that you check which version you're deploying. Because if you make any changes and you keep pressing the same one over and over again, it won't change. But what you want to do is you want to make sure that after you do any changes, so it's like hello world 1, you compile it again. Oh, and a very quick way to compile is you actually can press Control S if you're on Windows. I'm not sure what it is for Mac, sorry. But make sure that you, when you deploy it again, you check which version is happening. It's usually the one at the bottom, and you can see the change that's happened. Yep, Control S to compile. It's just a faster way than having to continuously go here, press compile, then go to the next one. Sorry for those who are on Mac, I don't know the code for it. Can you show me your entire code and I can see what's happening? Yeah, can you screenshot your whole code and I can see what's. Yep, that's great, Vintage. It works. Yep, you did it right. Good job, sir. But before that, you do want to make sure that you put the license. You're missing this one line that could make a difference between if your contract is trustworthy or not. Can you show me your codes and I can see if there's some error in it or. Okay, so you see your name of your doc. It has to be. You don't have to type the word soul. It should be dot soul. So it will automatically convert it to a Solidity file. Because your file right now, if I'm not wrong, is JavaScript. All right. For BD, you want to make sure you have brackets for your string so it identifies what you want to put inside your string. So right now you're just creating a name to an integer. Yeah, quote marks. Sorry. So for, wrong one. Alright, so let's just create a new thing. And this is just not really a contract, just running through the most common types of things you'll be using inside a contract. So it's like creating values for your address, your integers, booleans, and all stuff like this. So like every code that or any contract you do, I think it's a good habit to just have this ready to be copy pasted anywhere. And just whenever you start a contract, whenever you start a new file, just paste it down. And it's a good habit to start getting into. Then you can, after that, put whichever, same as always, put whichever version of Solidity you will be using for this contract. Then now it's just creating your contract. So for contract, so right now we'll just be looking at the type of stuff that you'll normally be putting into your contract. So the different types of values you can create. So the two main things would be either int or, no, sorry, integer or uint. So these two are more or less the same thing, but the difference is integers can be negative or positive. Unique integers, which is basically uint, can only be positive integers. After that, remember you always want to end your line with semicolons. So just remember, as what Sean said, your uint will never be a negative number. And for every contract, you will always have an address that your contract or your project is based on. So you just have to type in your address. And don't forget, you always want to put the word public after anything that you assign so that you know it's going out to the public network. And you can put any address for now. You can find one randomly on Etherscan. You can find one on. You can use your own wallet address if you want. Whatever address, you just have to paste it here. This is something I got off Etherscan. It could be whatever you guys want to find. So these are just some of. Yeah. NFT Duke, do you want to show what your code is? What do you mean you're having a hard time making it public? Um, and another common one, just for everyone who's while I'm waiting for NFT Duke. The reason why yours isn't compiling is because you haven't really created any values for your address or your bytes yet. So if you delete off the address owner and bytes32 name, you can compile that first just to make sure it works. And also your string greet has to have an equal sign, not a dash. So just for NFT Duke, just something like this first. Yep. Yep. All good. Yep. So for Stellar, make sure that you're using an equal sign as well after your public. So after you create your name for your integer or your unique integer, make sure you put an equal sign so you can create a value for that instead of using a dash. Yep. All right. So byte32 is everything basically starts with public. Just remember that. And you create a name for whatever you want it to be. So in this case, I'm just going to call it bytes32. And you can create whatever value you want. You have to find a value online, get it, copy paste it down, and yeah. So bytes32 is basically how it reads. So it's like binary code for it. Each binary code is just called a byte. So it's just how it's being read. It's have very hard time explaining this without any like actual diagrams, but everyone here I believe should know what a binary code is. It's like a whole list of zeros and ones. Bytes is basically telling how many zeros are inside one line. So in this case, there's 32 lines of zeros, and from that line, whatever binary code is created, that's how you read one letter, one number, one integer, whatever it is. So bytes goes up in numbers of 8. So it can be 8, 16, all the way up to 256, which is the longest string of binary code you can actually create for now until we create a lot more complicated coding in the future. Yep, just yep, what translate. E Everyone seems to be using, like, the 0 version of Solidity, which technically doesn't exist anymore because it's no longer available in public. The minimum you can ever go is zero point 0.4, so please do make sure you're using a compatible version of Solidity, or at least a version that's up on blockchain. Yeah, for those that are trying to compile this, if you don't have a proper address or proper bytes 32, it will not compile at all. For mine, it does. I can copy paste these two addresses if you guys want to use this just for the example. So you guys can try compiling to make sure that it works for you guys. So that would be the public address. And this one that I'm just sending now would be the bytes 32 address. So if you guys want to just add that into yours and see if it compiles, just to make sure that it works for you guys. You can find it. Wait, so NFT Duke, yours isn't working? Alright, let me copy paste yours and see what's wrong. License. Oh, NFT Duke, you spelled identifier wrong. That's why it's not compiling. Yeah, you're missing an I after the F. Once you add that, it should compile perfectly fine. Yeah, it's working now. Yep, Solomis, yours looks fine. Your bytes32 address is incomplete. It should be a lot longer than it shouldn't be that close to the value of a public Ethereum address. It's actually much longer. I think you didn't copy paste the full thing. It, Stellar, you have to change it to 0.8. So the range that you guys should be able to use is 0.4, 0.0 to about 0.8, 0.13. So this is actually what's the available Solidity softwares that are actually out on the blockchain right now. So if you use anything below or above this, it will not work. The last one is just Boolean. So it's just bool public b. So this one's just if it equals to true or false. Most of the time it's true. That's basically it. And that's the last most common used value types in Solidity. For Stellar, it's because you spelled unit, not uint. It's unique. It's supposed to be unique or unassigned. So you spelled unit instead of uint. Yeah, bracket right there. All right. Firstly, your uint cannot be a negative number. All right. So that's what they're telling you there, and yeah, uint basically can only be a positive integer. It cannot be negative integer. So for Stellar, you don't actually have to put the positive sign. If you don't put any number in front, it's automatically assigned as a positive integer. Stellar, can you screenshot your entire code and I'll run through it for you. Because you're putting it all into one contract, so you're running two different things into one contract. You're bringing into code again. So you want to try, in this case, just splitting them into two different contracts. Just press this create new file here and copy paste the bottom part into a new contract and try that again. Oh yeah, so you just want to go here, right below the drop-down box here, create a new file, name it values or whatever, and then copy paste your bottom line of code all the way to the MIT license, and then put that part into the new code because you're trying to run two different codes into the same thing. Yeah. Stellar, can you copy paste your code into the chat and I'll try running it through and see what's up with it.
Yo, yo. Hey, what's up, man? Over here going a little crazy with this code. But I think I actually got it. I sent a picture there in our class chat. Can you check me? And I did the compile. Now it says published on IPFS or whatever, published on Swarm. What do I do from here?
All right, what you want to do is you can actually go under the drop down right after that, and you can press deploy, and just test if your contract actually can be deployed in the first place. Let me just get back to Stellar. All right, Stellar. So what went wrong with your contract is actually you can't have the same. You're setting I as two different integers. So you actually need to create a new name for this. So one thing that I think everyone should know is you can't create the same value for whatever name you put it as. So you put I as both an integer and an unassigned integer. So you need to make sure that they're two different values. You're creating two
Like the-
different sets for different values.
Okay. Okay, and then what about this problem? There's still one more.
Which line is the error coming up on?
The top.
I think just now it's because you put a space here. So coding any space, any wrong dot that you put will affect everything. So if you see if I put a space here and I try to compile, it will bring up an error. So just make sure there's no space in between your colon and your identifier, and it will go through perfectly fine.
My bad.
No worries. No worries. Coding is very difficult. Yeah. Yep. So for Uga Dog, who just came in, I will. Yeah, your code looks fine. Just remember you want to make sure that you have a license at the top as well, so that it doesn't come up with warnings whenever anyone interacts with your contract. Does anyone else have any other questions or anything you want to ask?
All the teachers still have to get their XP. Come on.
Does anyone else have anything they want to ask about Solidity, about contracts, or anything in general?
Oh yeah, actually, I have a question. My brother is actually UGA fan or UGA fan, whatever. Both my parents were grads from there, but he's asking the question about he doesn't understand. I'm trying to teach him about the what you mean by the license and how his code was needed an extra license in it.
All right, so the license is basically trying to ensure that whatever is going up onto the blockchain isn't just some random contract that anyone creates. Is to make sure that there is like an actual company or a reason why the contract is up on the blockchain.
Also have like the X address or whatever, X send X amount to X, or not, we're not sending amounts yet, but we're doing the X send to extra, or send X to or address number or account number, right?
So usually the address will be set to whatever the project's address is. So if their Ethereum address, they will put it under their own. They won't be copying someone else's. So
Okay,
this is
makes
usually set to their own contract.
makes sense. Yeah.
And don't forget your semicolon at the end of your 6th line as well. Right. Yep. Just as an added thing, just remember, I do want you guys to try writing a contract that will give out your Discord name. So create your contract that outputs the string of your Discord name and the tag at the back, and do post it inside assignment submissions. And if you guys can do it properly, you guys will get your XP. All right, so what I want you guys to do is to create basically some similar to this. All you have to do is really change a few things. I won't be telling you guys what exactly to change. but I want it so that when it compiles and when you do deploy the contract, what it does is it comes up here instead of hello world would be your Discord username and the tag. So like for example, mine would be CW2412 and 5533. I want it to see your Discord name and your tag here. If your Discord name is really long, it's okay. Just put a shortened version of it or something. Because I could see from this chat there's some people who have really long Discord names. That might not run because you put dot dot. Yeah. So just remember that whatever you guys put as here, that's the contract name. It actually won't show when you interact with the contract. When you interact with the contract, whatever shows is actually in the string here. So inside these parentheses.
Wow.
Great job,
Thanks,
guys.
Chris. Really appreciate it, buddy.
Thanks for coming, guys. Thanks for coming.
Thank you guys so much. Thanks, Sean. Take care. Have a good night.
Some class, man. Thank you guys for all the help.
And remember, like I said, guys, or gals, or any other pals, if you want to stay in class chat or in general and share this information back and forth, share your code, share your screens, whatever you want to do, you're more than welcome. We're all in here to learn together. So if you have information that somebody else doesn't have and they're having a hard time, help them out. And if you feel like you don't have time for it right then you guys can always schedule with each other, and we just kind of want to keep this whole thing moving together as like a community learning. So help each other out.
Can I do the round of applause thingy now?
You may.
His mic just cut off so many times.
Hey, did it work? Oh
It was
no,
a
it's a
valiant
soundboard.
effort.
It was a soundboard. It didn't work. Crap.
Better. It was better that
That
time.
was
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me redo it.
No, it's not working. You're gonna have to mess with your mic inputs and
It's
sensitivity.
weird.
You have to play it through your microphone rather than in your microphone. Play it through
Nah.
There's a couple of sound settings that you can mess with
No,
within Discord
because
there.
I got off modded Discord because I went from modded Discord to like normal Discord because I bought it like a client and I went off of modded Discord and now I'm on normal Discord because modded Discord can get you banned. And yeah, so it used to work if I hop on BTC like the modded Discord client, it'll work. But yeah, I'm gonna
Oh,
go. Thank
interesting.
you for like
Have
the
a good one.
knowledge and stuff. Have a good night. Good night. Bye.